Yeah. What's up, guys? Happy Monday, April 3rd, 2023. We are heading into the second series of baseball for all of our teams. There is no NBA tonight. You would think that means bigger contest for Fanduel. That's not really what happened. But nonetheless, still plenty to attack. Hopefully you got some decent stuff reserved. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend. Fun weekend. I know college basketball's been doing its thing. We had opening weekend for MLB. That was a lot of fun as a fan, as a player. Yankees 2-1. Pair of shutouts in there. Hopefully your team brought you, I'm in the wrong screen share. Hopefully your team brought you some happiness, some dubs. And maybe you made some money along the way. What up, Patrick? What up, CT? What up, Pinstripe? Mac Man, Dang Lazy Mofo, Vic in the chat. What up, Fear Money? Yeah. What up, Dylan? Happy Monday to you guys. Tonight, a lot of baseball tonight. And now, for a lot of teams, this is day 3 or day 4 for pitching. So pitching is kind of sus on the surface. So we're going to try to navigate the waters here. Research game by game on the main slate. There's a couple of early stragglers. I'm going to focus more on the main slate here and hopefully walk away with a pretty decent player pool. Maybe some stuff to attack for the prop streets as well. How are you guys doing? What's up, Hugo? You guys watched WrestleMania the last night? It was just a good weekend, man. I enjoyed this weekend. It was just really, really good. Everything was good. MLB The Show launch, WrestleMania, Yankees coming out strong. It was just, it was good. What up, Daniel? Hope you're doing all right. What a mania. You guys liked it, man. I absolutely adored the crowd. Shout out to that crowd out there in LA. 2 nights of being fully invested. I mean, fully invested. Sometimes bangers, like great matches, don't get the crowd that it deserves. Man, that crowd just, it was so good. It was so good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. What up, Charles? Hope you're doing all right. We have got a few lineups out for tonight. More will probably drop in the next couple hours. We're laid back Cadillac Jack, all right? We're vibing. So when it comes out, we'll adjust and reset. Gunther is true, bro. Damn man, oh my God, those Gunther chops. Ooh, I could feel him just thinking about them. Oh man, no sir, absolutely not, absolutely not. Judge's been winning you money. Great start for Judge. A pair of bombs already yesterday. Stanton's got a pair as well. What up, Eric? Peralta. Ooh. All right, so this stream is going to be brought to you by RunDFS.com. You guys know the drill. That's a place where we don't just play DFS. We run DFS. If you guys want to grab access to the RunDFS.com MLB VIP spreadsheets behind the paywall here, click VIP memberships, and then find something that's right for you. This week pass, 2 week pass, month pass. The MLB season pass, probably one of the better bang for your bucks right now at $300. Rebate that down to $200 with that $100 fantasy cruncher voucher, or you can just lock in for the rest of the year for a full $100 and get $150 towards fantasy cruncher. So lots of good stuff there. That'll unlock the VIP portal, the spreadsheets, the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. Get in there, man. We're hanging out. It's a good time. It's a good time. UFC bought WWE. The company that owns UFC bought WWE, the Endeavor Group. Yeah, we'll see what kind of changes that brings. Right? Had an Angels 5 stack on Yahoo. The back-to-back homers by Trout and Ohtani was fun to watch. Yeah, if you're an Angels fan, like moments like that, those are your boys, right? Are we trotting out Kirby? We'll probably have to get into a little bit. What up, Obi? Top stacks today. So I haven't done a ton of research yet. I just threw all the games in the spreadsheet a minute ago. I added a few at-bats of sample size this season because the bomb detector has been getting a little bit warped at the top by like some 15 plate appearance guys. But man, bomb detector's coming through already to start the season. Yesterday on the main slate, the top guy was Patrick Wisdom. He had 2 bombs. And then, of course, in the afternoon slate was Mike Zunino. So, good little stretch of bomb detector really coming through. And hopefully today we like what we see here. From what I could tell, when I first looked at this slate and I started throwing names into the spreadsheet, this is day 4 pitching, right? There is not many ace caliber pitchers on this slate. There's a couple guys with some upside that also come with a ton of risk. But looking through and through, I mean, this could be an ugly slate. Yesterday kind of had that feel as well, and that resulted in a lot of games going off. So on slates like this, I usually try to diversify pitcher more than usual. On those ace slates, I'll hyper focus on, you know, the 4 or 5 options and go from there. I might really diversify here and not really think this slate's decided by pitcher too much. We saw on, was it Friday or Saturday, where the only pitcher that went six innings was Nick Williams, and he didn't even have a quality start. Wasn't really getting strikeouts. So might have a similar situation today where you might not be getting 10 strikeouts from anyone, and you just kind of, who can steal me 5-6 innings, get me a win and not die. A couple strikeouts, right? We'll see. We'll get into it. There's a couple prospects though. We'll have some fun with it. What up, Rob? Hope you're doing all right. Gallo 2 bombs. We don't talk about that, Vic. Okay, this is a safe place. No, we don't talk about Joey Gallo being good. I'm not salty. I'm happy for him. You know, good for him. Good for him. Let's open the spreadsheet. Game number 1. Nats hosting the Rays. Rays trotting out Drew Rasmussen up against Trevor Williams. If we take a look at the run totals, we have just a 7.5 run total for this game. Rays implied run total 4.25. The Nats 3.25. We did just get a Nats lineup recently. Garcia, Meneses, Jamer Candelario is batting 5th. Gotta make sure not to hit the mute button. Actually, let's fix that. Jamer Candelario. There we go. Dom Smith, Herbert Ruiz, Lane Thomas, CJ Abrams, El Demaro, Vargas, and Victor Robles. I can't type today. CJ Abrams. No period. What? This cord is like triggering me. There we go. Alright, so Nat's not implied for very much. Last season, Rasmussen, 3.46 on the expected ERA, 104 on the whip, 21.4% strikeout rate. I'm willing to believe in a little bit of forward progression on that just because of the 12% swing and strike rate. But it looks like what his problem is, he's not getting a lot of called strike. So what he is inducing strikes, a lot of it is, more of it is swing and a miss than called strikes, if that makes sense. He needs more called strikes. So if he can get back to 2021, 2020, where it was 18-20%, I think we're in business to see his strikeout rate go up a little bit. Facing a Nats team that doesn't give you much power, decent enough strikeout potential here. So if he's fully stretched out, unfortunately, we said that the standards, the bar is pretty low today on what I need from you to be a pitcher, and it looks like he's a stretched out as most of these usual starters. Went 3 innings in his last Grapefruit League with 3 Ks in 3 innings. So I think Rasmussen's going to make the player pool, and I think all pitchers are essentially going to end up being a tier 3. But let's put him at the bottom because there are going to be a couple pitchers I like more than him just for strikeout upside. But in terms of matchup, I mean, Nat's barely implied to score 3 runs or more. So he's essentially implied for the quality start if he can stretch through 6. And I trust, or not trust, I can see a path to a strikeout increase for him. 45.9% ground ball rate to righties last year, 47% to lefties. Line drive rate's a little bit elevated to lefties, not what you want, but again, not a ton of power to speak of in this Nats lineup. So Rasmussen makes the mix here. Still waiting on a Rays lineup. We actually saw the Rays offense show up and show out yesterday. They'll be up against Trevor Williams. Trevor at 3.7 expected ERA, 22% K rate, 10.2% swing and strike rate. He's a pretty extreme splits guy against righties. A 313 xFIP, 32% strikeout rate, with a 0.96 home run per nine. A lot of usable stuff. He does put the ball in the air, 45% fly ball rate to righties, but where he's really getting rocked is against lefties. Last 3 seasons, a 4+ xFIP to lefties, but last season over 5.25, just an 8% strikeout rate, 319 average allowed, and a 1.62 home run per nine, which usually a 1.6 home run per nine over the course of a decent bit of sample size would correlate with like a high hard contact rate. He actually only has a 30% hard contact rate, which is kind of unique. But I guess when he is getting got, he is getting got. So these are numbers we like to pick on. This is a not an anomaly. This is something we've seen 3 years straight. So if we want to pick on Trevor Williams here, guys that stand out immediately, Brandon Lau, 251 ISO, almost at 860 OPS last 2 years against righties, 141 WRC plus. He would be the guy, if I'm playing Trevor Williams, or if I am Trevor Williams, he would be the guy I'm most scared of. Wander Franco will turn around for this matchup as well. Very low K rate guy. And then just generally speaking, a lot of lefties projected in this lineup. Over half the lineup projected to bat lefty. So not a great spot if Trevor Williams is going to pick up on his sub 10% K rate in terms of seeking out upside. So I will probably stay away from him for the most part. Yeah. And then if I wanted to get to some Rays are never really a fun full stack here, but I do think there's some names that make the hat and some cherry picks, some one-offs here. And with Brandon Lau leading the charge. Lau, by the way, a 3.96 rating on the bomb detector. I'm taking a peek at the bomb detector. 3.96 is good for... Actually, there's a lot of 4+ today, so he's like in the top 30. But we do have a bunch of 4s today, so that's good news. Last couple days, we've only had like 5 4s. And again, that's a product of day 4, day 5 pitching, Cats, no, we don't have a Cats command here. He's just straight up banned. What up, Ryan? Hope you're doing all right. You have Joey Gallo in your best ball? Please tell me he was like a last round pick. Don't do. Nah, I don't know. I like him as a person. Just a little bit salty that he was so bad. We got Yankees and the Phillies. So before I went live, I actually saw the Yankees put out a lineup. LeMahieu, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton. We got the kid, Jimmy Cordero. Aaron Hicks is getting a start. Jose Trevino, Anthony Volpe. Now, wait a minute. I thought yesterday they made it seem like Hicks would be a platoon hitter, likely starting against lefties. Like, he was so far down on the totem pole that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa started in center over him. So, I don't know. So, I'll put that lineup in. LeMahieu, Judgy, Rizzo, Stanton. 5 spot is going to be Glaber. So it looks like a day off for Donaldson. Anthony Volpe. Taijuan Walker on the bump against Nestor Cortez. Taijuan Walker, I believe he was on the Mets last year. 3.94 expected ERA, 1.2 on the whip, 4+ Sierra, a 16.6% C-strike percentage, 10% swing and strike percentage. Was able to keep the ball on the ground more so against righties last year, 48%. And that's kind of what you want to pay attention to against a team like the Yankees with so many sluggers from the right side of the plate. Against lefties, elevated xFIP, 4+. Last year was his best xFIP to lefties in 3 seasons. Still had a 1+ home run per 9. So in a park like Yankee Stadium, I would keep an eye on Anthony Rizzo. He'd be the main lefty that I'm concerned about for some power. in this particular version of the lineup. I guess Franchi Cordero, if he makes contact, somebody that we can get behind. And then Volpe, he's coming. I don't really have interest in Taijuan Walker. I never really play him, but I would say maybe if you have a little less bias and you've seen the Yankees be able to strike out in the first couple of these series, go for it. Me personally, though, I don't think Taijuan Walker's making my list here. Nestor Cortez, another guy I don't really have the warm and fuzzies, but he is somebody that can funky his way into a good game. 2.7 expected ERA last season, 3.48 SIERA, under 1 WHIP, 26.5% K rate. It is potentially, I don't know, we don't have a Phillies lineup yet, but Phillies are coming from a series in Texas. So there's some travel to the east side. They are without two of their bigger boppers to start the season, Bryce Harper and Rhys Hoskins. And especially Hoskins, one of their biggest threats against lefties, but they still have some talent. If Trey Turner gets on, that's a problem. Schwarber can hit baseballs to outer space versus just about anybody. So it is probably a both sides of the fence for me. And the only reason I get to Cortez today versus any other day is because he is funky enough to trick with some trickery, right? Last season, 37% K rate to lefties. Probably don't have to worry about focusing on that too much. We can really dive into these righty splits. 3.84 xFIP. Heavy fly ball rate to righties last year. That's not really what you want, but he throws strikes. He's not going to waste a lot of pitches. And if we've seen something from the Yankees in the first couple of games, we saw Garrett Cole on opening day. This is a team that is really, really shy on starting pitching. No Severino, no Montes, no Carlos Rodon. 2 of the first 3 games were Clark Schmidt and a rookie yesterday. And so I would say that there's a good chance that if Nestor Cortez is able to eat some innings here, Booney's going to trust him as much as he can to get this bullpen a little bit of a break because they've had to really come out and work the last 2 days. They also get Coley, I believe, tomorrow since they had a day off. I believe Cole's tomorrow. So it might be 2 days to reset, but we saw this bullpen really get used. We saw Clay Holmes get worked 2 days ago, didn't look great. And then yesterday we saw Jimmy Cordero, we saw Ron Marinaccio split the difference. They sent down the opener, and then the Saturday is the day that they really had to tax the bullpen. So I guess for the most part, it's probably a little bit reset, but I would still think that the leash for Cortez is a little bit longer than maybe your atypical guy making his first start just because of the situation. So a couple reasons to like the spot for Cortez, but at the end of the day, it is not really a warm or fuzzy matchup, and that fly ball rate's really, really high for a pretty powerful Phillies team. So Phillies stack is also going to make the stack list for me. It's just one of those hedge in both sides. Yankees will always be a stack just because of what they bring to the table. And then Anthony Volpe, he has stole a base in every game so far. So keep an eye on that. And that is, I think he had like 30 plus stolen bases in the minors last year. He is that guy. We're seeing stolen bases make an impact in the league real quick and in fantasy scores real quick. So it's okay to play some bottom of the lineup guys. Volpe, Jorge Mateo, guys like that when they get on, they're going to run, and those +5s will add up pretty quickly over on PrizePicks and Fanduel. So I'm stacking both teams. I'm going to play some Cortez. I'm not going to play Walker, but I understand if you want to play Walker. If I had to pick a guy to send Cortez over the wall, it's probably Trey Turner right off the rip. This guy crushes lefties, 172 WRC plus last season against lefties, and Schwarber's even above average, but Turner's the guy. And then for Walker, he's got to get Rizzo out. In my opinion, I think Rizzo's the key to his day. Let's get caught up on chat. Phillies didn't get to their hotel rooms till 4 a.m. Hey, maybe the Phillies will have one of those Sunday special lineups. But I still expect like the main guys to be there. But 4 a.m. is not that bad for a game that starts at 7. You're still gonna get your sleep. Could be worse though. What up, Shannon? What up, Sean? Have Cortez in your best ball? All right, cool. Marlins game's not on. Yeah, Marlins There's 2 games that are not on the main slate, and I don't want to exhaust too much time focusing on those games. What up, Jake? We doing all right? Miss anybody? Brian Anderson just homered. Let's go. Some pretty good weather spots. Yeah, by the way, I didn't reference the weather report, but it looks like a pretty clean weather day. The Giants-White Sox game is yellow, but everything else looks like it's going to be a fine day for weather. And like yesterday, just some winds to watch. And we didn't see winds play a huge role, but it's still something to be cognitive of, right? Like Oakland, I usually don't care about Oakland. It's such a massive park that I'm not gonna get tricked in. One, I'm not like never really gonna be that enthralled ever by the Athletics offense. The Guardians against Kaprillion is already just interesting just because of Kaprillion's lefty splits. But yeah, for the most part, just a regular day. What up, Patrick? We're doing all right. Hope everybody's doing all right. I guess that's it, right? Let's move on. Pirates up against the Red Sox. Johan Oviedo taking on Cutter Crawford. And double check lineups here. We do have a Pirates lineup, so let's get that confirmed. O'Neal Cruz leading off. Brian Reynolds, G-Man Choi, former Yankee great. Carlos Santana, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Cannon Smith Jigba. That is a mouthful. Jack Sawinski, Rodolfo Castro, Jason Delay. All right. And so both lineups are confirmed. Oviedo, Cutter Crawford, really not interested in either side. Cutter Crawford last season, 4.62 expected ERA. Saw him coming out of the bullpen. Gets lefties out better. So I'll tell you what, if you really want to get contrarian, looking at his splits, I mean, his xFIP is elevated to both sides of the plate, but a 26% K rate to lefties is 6% better than his K rate to righties, and there's a lot of lefties in this Pirates lineup. So maybe at 5.8 K he doesn't die against the Pirates offense. Not a ton of positive WRC plus against righties, just 4. So like, I guess if you wanted to get freaky, you could make that case. I don't think either pitcher is going to be too enthralling to me. This Red Sox team, their pitching staff has certainly been an issue for them, especially in that opening series against the Orioles. And the Orioles are also struggling with pitching themselves. But we saw the Red Sox offense breathe just fine, right? We saw a massive game Adam Duvall. We saw just a decent, very usable series where the Red Sox stacks were putting up points here, and I probably expect more of the same here. So I'm still there on the Red Sox offense. So I'm gonna add them to the stack list. The Pirates, I'm a little bit indifferent about. When Cutter Crawford is allowing power, it's to lefties. 2.64 homer per 9 to lefties last year. 45% hard contact rate. And when we open up the bomb detector, it's a lot of Pirates up here. So I guess we have to honor that. What's the ownership on the Pirates? God dang, why? Pirates came in as 2 on the stack list. Fudge. That's rough, man. When the Pirates are a top 2 team in ownership, that's never fun. Usually I'll just automatically fade that. But the bomb detector is just screaming Pirates. I mean, screaming them. 9 bombs to lefties. And like, it doesn't look like there's any flukiness in these numbers either. Looking at, he has a 320 BABIP to lefties. That's a little elevated. 320 BABIP to both sides of the plate. 43% pull rate, 45% hard contact rate, 52% fly ball rate. Those are literally the 3 magic ingredients for the bomb detector, and they are just going nuts. How did Cutter look in spring training in terms of homers? Pirates lineup is dog wire. Yeah, sometimes you'll hear me say this throughout the course of a season. Bad hitting beats bad pitching. at the major league level. The Smith brother who plays the Buckeyes? I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat knows that answer. I feel like that's such a uncommon name that I feel like the family tree touches at some point. Alright, so spring training for Cutter Crawford. 1 homer. It was his last outing. He also gave up 7 hits in 4 innings. The whip in spring has been 1.3. That's not great. Still a massive fly ball pitcher. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to pick on that. I think it's 9-10% for the Pirates. I mean, it's certainly not what you want, but unfortunately, I gotta be there. So we're stacking Fenway Park. So we're gonna add Pirates to the mix. As far as homers go, O'Neal Cruz and Brian Reynolds have the highest ratings in the bomb detector from the top of the list here, and those would be the 2 guys I lean on the most, just because they're ISO. I guess Jack Sawinski as well, but he's way down on the order. Kind of feel it reminds me of Eduardo Escobar. Escobar keeps landing in spots I like, but he's hidden in the bottom of the order. But those are 2 I'll be looking at. So maybe O'Neal Cruz gets one to start the game. With that said, can we get an O'Neal Cruz fantasy prop? 6.5. Yeah, I do believe we like that. O'Neal Cruz over 6.5 FPS. Welcome to the party. Chalk Pirates. In the context of the slate, they have like the second highest ownership. I would imagine it's all on like O'Neal Cruz and Reynolds as well. But I mean, it's not like the first 2 days where the Braves were at like 20%. So if it stays at 10 or less, then it's still like you could work with it. I haven't looked at like individual hitter ownerships to have a strong opinion on that, but I would have to assume that the ownership for the Pirates is coagulated on a couple of guys, namely Brian Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz. Yeah. And then, like I said, we're stacking Red Sox as well. Oviedo, almost a 1.3 whip last season. I'll tell you what, his expected ERA was better than I guess it was linear to his ERA. His Sierra was over 4. Why is this whip so high? It looks like a 13% walk rate to lefties is doing that. And his walk rate to lefties has been 13-ish% over the course of the last 3 seasons. So that's fair. Didn't give up a homer to a lefty last year with a 26% hard contact rate. That would be a 7% dip from the season prior. I probably assume that that's like I'll probably bet on regression. Let me look at his pitch report. Fastball, slider, curve, changeup. Fastball's 96. Got a little zip on it. 86 slider. So basically a 2-pitch pitcher. Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna continue being a 0 homer per 9 guy to lefties. So we're just full stacking Red Sox here, and then we get in that bullpen. So just a stacking Fenway. Still going. We still get the belt at 100 likes. Can y'all see the belt? It's just kind of like on display. We're still working on this whole thing, getting it set up. But I do still have the belt. We'll see how much longer I have it, but we still got it. That is his brother? Okay. Here, what up, Conscious? But I mean, I'll take 100 likes if you're trying to give them to me. You know what I'm saying? Yo, on Saturday we got almost to 300 viewers concurrent viewers on a baseball stream. That was so crazy. I don't expect to do that today, but man, if you guys were there Saturday, I appreciate that, because that's just not normal for baseball. 100 right here, that's just kind of what we expect to be the tops. But for some reason on Saturday morning, you guys wanted your baseball. And I would say if there's any weekday this week where baseball viewership could take a similar spike, it's probably a day where there's no NBA, like tonight. So maybe we get surprised later, but yeah. A lot of these touts are super active till MLB season comes around, then they don't have anything to talk about except some random prize pick. They don't know how to do breakdown. I appreciate that. Baseball, you know me, baseball is the passion. All right, let's move on. Blue Jays at the Royals. Do we have a Blue Jays lineup? No. Royals lineup did come out. It is confirmed. Our pitching matchup, Jose Berrios taking on Brady Singer. Implied run total for the Blue Jays, 4.21. Royals, 3.8. Kind of a polarizing pitching matchup here. Jose Berrios taking on Brady Singer. Wide range of outcomes on how this game could go. First of all, Berrios, 5.1 expected ERA last season, 5.23 ERA, 1.42 on the whip, under a 20% K rate, barrel rate pushing 10%. That's 2 years running, whereas barrel rate has been above 9%. He has been a bad investment so far for the Blue Jays, and everyone keeps calling for like a bounce back, but I'm not truly sure what he's supposed to bounce back to, because his expected ERA has long been above 4. But we'll dive in here. Let's look at his spring training. Berrios spring training. And then, like I said, I do think in Berrios somewhere is strikeout potential. Kind of to a more maybe exasperated extent, like Lucas Giolito, who was a massive strikeout guy in the last 2 years while still holding strikeouts. He's been getting hit up. Well, Berrios' strikeout rate has kind of dipped as well, but I do think it's still in there. Last year, though, he dropped 11% strikeout rate against lefties. It went from 28% in 2021 to just 17% last season. And that'll be a problem against this Royals lineup that is featuring only 3 right-handed hitters. So we can kind of hyper-focus on these numbers against lefties last year and his 2+ homer per night. Kaufman might bail him out. But let's go see if he has adjusted anything, or if he's fixed anything in spring training, or if he's looking to if he's looking better. Spring training this season, 1 homer March 23rd. Generally let's see, 6 hits in 5 innings in April. Oh, that's just in April. What about cumulatively? 9 in 3 innings. Yikes. Still got a walk problem ish. Yeah, I don't know that I'm trusting and believing in the Berrios bounce back here. What are you guys thinking? What is the field thinking on Berrios? Because he's still carrying that name value. But I think last year did a lot to get people off of his name value. Let's see. Just trying to see if I can see ownership on Berrios. He's not really getting ownership. Almost no ownership. So people are just done with him. Done. Alright. Love the belt. I cashed every slate I saw it. That's awesome, bro. We got a belt splits here. Did I see the belt? What's up, Mamba? Is wind direction blowing out accounted for in bomb detector? No. So bomb detector, and I talked the other day about maybe adding different levels of it. It's not park adjusted. It's not weather adjusted. It's strictly talent. It's the ingredients, the formula. Don't tell nobody. Over an X amount of sample size, it is pull rate times fly ball rate times line drive rate times hard contact from the pitcher and the hitter, and then we just go from there. So sometime, and it's not looking at lineup order, nothing like that. It's just strictly the batted ball data from the hitter and the pitcher. So that's why you do have to, when you look at the bomb detector, you see me tweet it out, you have to pay some, you have to take it with a grain of salt in some spots, right? You see this, these columns over here, this is hitter sample. So that's the sample size of at-bats against the hand-in-this pitcher, and the pitcher sample is the sample size of innings against that hand-in-this hitter. And then, of course, you see the lineup order, stuff like that. So you do have to weigh all that. And then, if a guy has a great bomb rating, but he's in, Oakland, right, in a night game, and he's batting 8th, well, maybe I don't feel as enthralled by it. But just right now, the formula, the algorithm, is just pure batted ball. And so far, so good. So I think there's a couple things I need to do in the coming weeks. Usually around the second week of the baseball season, when pitchers have 2 or 3 starts, I recode the spreadsheet to include 2023 in these splits here. I'm gonna write a projection formula, and then I might add a couple more columns to the bomb detector to have a little bit more depth, a couple extra dimensions. But so far the batted ball data has been pretty good itself. Top scoring projected stack, please someone help, I have children. Top scoring projected stack, I mean, you could just look at run totals for that. Yeah, bomb detector has to be the best name for a DFS tool. I appreciate that. Yeah, don't mention it on the Delta Airlines. No, they're not. I'm the bomb detector guy. Put me in first class. Get on the ground. Brady Singer's pitching for the Royals. He's got almost 4 expected ERA last season, so he kind of overperformed the expected ERA a little bit. It's still sub 4, so I'm fine with it. And the C strike percentage is over 20%. That's really good. So he's able to steal strikes, and what it also means is that maybe his 28.5% strikeout rate to lefties has some room to go backwards. And you saw 24-21% the 2 seasons prior, because he's getting a little bit more called strikes versus earning some strikeouts with the whiffs. But still something that I don't mind, because he's pumping strikes, and he has a 54% ground ball rate to righties, and he doesn't really strike out righties at a high clip, less than 20% the last 2 years combined, but he doesn't give up much damage either. So when we talk about like the Nestor Cortez thing, where on another slate I probably wouldn't even blink twice at Brady Singer, but on this slate you put a 50+% ground ball rate in Kaufman, and then maybe a couple of strikeouts here and there just based on seeing a few lefties, I could convince myself to play a little bit of Brady Singer on a slate this big. So I might just do that. I just got did. Never know what that is. So I might get a little contrarian with Singer, and I think Singer is more of a Fanduel play long term, just because his ability to get through innings is more prevalent, right? I think we can pull up his game log from last year, and sometimes that's the trade-off, right? A guy that's not going to be a big strikeout guy, well, then he's probably not going to waste as many pitches as he gets through innings, hopefully a little bit more efficiently. Yeah, lost 7-inning games, 7-inning games on, we're talking like 88 pitches. So on FanDuel, a better shot at getting that quality start. So I actually think I will get to some Brady Singer. And the Blue Jays are just also one of those teams that by default, you just kind of get to them, right? The Yankees are another one of those teams. Like, they're so stacked that you really don't, you just feel naked if you don't have a Blue Jay stack here. So playing both sides of that, but a bing bong.
Josh of Los Angeles super chatted $5. What's your approach on short slates where salary doesn't matter? I'm looking at the 2-game early slate on FD.
So I do want to preface, I think salary doesn't matter on any slate in baseball. So that's not even a concern. I think on a 2-game slate, and I think every slate is different because it depends on the pitchers. Let's see if we can look at, I don't even know who the pitchers are on that slate. Is it Michael Kopech, Desclafani? Is that game? Oh no, you're looking at the Marlins twin. Okay, so Drew Smyly versus Connor Overton, and Tyler Mahle versus Johnny Cueto. So I would probably say on an average 2-game slate where I'm trying to get a little bit funkier, I think you unlock hitters against your pitcher. Probably don't want to like full stack against your pitcher, but maybe max of 2 just to get a little bit different, right? Funky with it. That's about as weird as I can get. I would still just kind of play all 4 corners. But that pitching slate kind of sucks. Tyler Mahle is probably. And then on those smaller slates, if you have access to like ownership projections, and sometimes a slate like that, and I'm just throwing obscure numbers in the air, but let's say you have 4 pitchers, and sometimes one of those guys will be 80% owned. So getting leverage on a slate like that is so easy. So easy. But I think probably the one of the first things I would get to get different on a 2-game slate is to play hitters against my pitcher. But salary never matters. Remember that. Took Buxton against Cueto. That's fair. What up, Sinjin? I've project ownership. Just curious on your tips. I hate these kind of slates. I mean, me personally, if I was playing a 2-game slate, I wouldn't even I would just have a formulaic approach that would probably be anti-ownership, and I would probably do that on every 2-game slate. Results be darned, right? And that's probably a process you can get away, like you should probably do it anyway in baseball, but it's just so much easier to get crazy leverage on a 2-game slate because ownership is so coagulated, where sometimes you'll find a couple hitters at 50-60% owned that could tank a lineup if they do a 0. So I would be less into the analysis of the matchups and more into the ownership numbers. And I think, like I said, that's an approach most people have for the main slate, but the leverage is way more spread out on the main slate, where highest owned stack on a slate like this could be 10%, 9%, and then we have 20 teams of 5 to 8%. So it's not as easy to reap the rewards instantly, where those smaller slates you can. I'm television some days with DFS, and who was that with the sexy voice? I don't know who that is. That's Gun GPT. 10-0 Brewers. God dang, Brewers. Glad that's not on the main slate. I don't know who the Brewers playing. What I have got there. Brewers are. Oh no, Brewers. Wait. Brewers were. I don't have Brewers. I don't know. Who were the Brewers playing? Let's move on to the next game. Braves and the Cardinals. Do we have lineups here? We do. We have both lineups. So Ronald Acuna, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Travis d'Arnaud batting cleanup. Little cleanup catcher for the boys. Michael Harris. Ozzy Albies batting 6th. Marcell Ozuna. Eddie Rosario. Orlando Arcia. Uncle Charlie's on the mound. Cardinals throwing out Brendan Donovan, Alec Burleson, Paul Goldschmidt, Arenado, Nolan Gorman is batting 6th. Tyler O'Neill, Jordan Walker, Tommy Edman. Who's batting 5th? It is Wilson Contreras. Huh. Alright. Cardinals have a run total of 4. Braves 4.42. So Both teams, I think these are other like process stats. These are two guys I want to get to a lot. Jake Woodford, 4 expected ERA last season, 2.23 ERA. So he ran really good. And these are two numbers. You guys are newer to DFS. ERA is results. Expected ERA is way more predictive, meaning that, compared to, what that pitcher did long term over this amount of games, like you would expect this to be the number, what you would expect, right? So we don't expect him to be a 2.23 ERA pitcher, even though he had just a 5% barrel rate really the last 2 seasons. But I think it's more so 13% K rate. That dog just doesn't hunt at the big league level. And he's not really, I guess against lefties, 292 average. God dang. And almost a 10% walk rate. How? Dude, what's his left on base percentage? Jesus. What's his name? Jake Woodford? So usually numbers that we can look at to confirm, verify, or even push more the narrative for regression. When we see an expected ERA differ from an ERA, we'll look at BABIP, we'll look on left on base percentage, and those are two numbers that will kind of explain the luck in the results so far. He could have just had like elite defense behind him, but looking at those numbers and then looking at the run total for the Braves, something ain't right. So we'll do two numbers. We'll do BABIP first of all. So unlucky kind of against lefties, little lucky against righties, and then LOB, 75 and 80% left on base percentage. Okay. All right, and then looking at lefties, we'll look at hard contact. Hard contact rates are really low. Line drive rate elevated. Pull rate's really high too, and this pull rate, without the shift anymore, is something we're gonna keep an eye on for these. Like a 45% pull rate to righties. He had a 31% infield fly ball rate to right. What am I looking at? This guy's numbers are like just incredible. Oh, 92 on the fastball, 82 on the slider, curveball. Another guy that's fastball slider, and he's got really no zip on the fastball. What was the fastball's WR or WC? He had a plus fastball at 92. Wow. All right. Well, I don't think I want to pitch Jake Woodford. No matter what, I still need a little bit of strikeout potential, and he just doesn't have it. Braves are too scary. A lot of ISO. Braves will be competing against Busch Stadium. Typically plays more hitter friendly. It's 18 points below league average in home runs allowed. But this is a powerful Braves team. We've got Matt Olson and Ozzie Albies, but more so Matt Olson high in the bomb detector. Michael Harris is somewhat up there. And then decent hit for average mix and a decent power mix. So Braves are in the stack mix. And then against Charlie Morton. First of all, let me throw Braves in here. Charlie Morton's a little bit of a weird case. 28% strikeout rate the last 2 years. 4.1 expected ERA. Walk and a quarter on the whip. His weaker side was home runs to lefties. And the Cardinals are becoming more balanced than we know them of the last couple of years. Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan had a day yesterday, or Nolan Gorman had a day yesterday. Brendan Donovan has been fine leading off as well. So they're able to balance that lineup a little bit more. But we can still kind of look at how do we get around Goldie, how do we get around Arenado, guys like that. And Morton has a chance, right? 3.13 xFIP, 29% K rate. The ground ball rate is not as high as I thought it would be on those numbers. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, do I want to play Charlie Morton? I think the park and the fact that compared to the rest of the slate, a 28% K rate is probably as high as you're going to get. So I guess yes. Is this a scumbag spot? Both sides? What kind of ownership are we getting on Charlie? A little bit, not a lot. Yeah, you might have to. I think I go both spots, both sides. So let's do that. Let's go Charlie, and then let's do Cardinals. Cardinals are another one of those teams that are borderline. No matter the slate, I'm just gonna have access to them. Just a lot of ISO, a little bit of speed, a decent mix of hit for average, and then you can mix in a little bit of power. They have what, 5 guys in this lineup with a 10+% barrel rate. Lars Nootbaar, Goldie, Wilson Contreras, Nolan Gorman, Tyler O'Neill. So he just got to. He just got to. So I'm scumbagging it right there. We're playing both sides. Scumdacker is back. What up, Paul and Boats? Scumdacker. There you go, Jake. Time for me to take a break with DFS. Haven't won it. Josh, I swear every time you're in chat, like on Twitch, you could check chat logs. I swear every time you're in chat, you're like, yeah, it's time for me to retire. And then you're here every show. What's up, Beast? What up, Bert? Astros lineup was trash without Altuve and Jordan. Got shoved around by Clevenger. Yeah, Clevenger kind of surprised me. I wouldn't overreact to one game, but yeah, Jordan is a massive absence. Yeah, a couple of good youngsters though. Bad days happen. But maybe Clevenger's on the up. I don't know. Orioles and the Rangers next on the docket. We have lineups here. We've got our Rangers lineup. So we got Kyle Bradish taking on John Gray. There we go. Semien, Seager, Nate Lowe, Adolis Garcia, Josh Young, Robbie Grossman, Jonah Heim, Brad Miller, Josh Smith. As projected, that's what you would like to see. We've seen Globe Life open their roof. I think I saw something about the roof being open. You guys want to help confirm or deny that? Is that it right there? No, that's Minute Maid. 2-ring Grand Slam, 1100. Jeez. Man, I don't know. I feel like I thought I saw something about the roof today. Maybe I'm tripping. Have you guys seen anything on the roof? Maybe it was just a Minute Maid alert, and there it is. Globe Life will open roof Monday. All right. So in Texas, it's probably gonna be pushing 70+ degrees. So a little bit more hitter friendly. And the Orioles offense has been there in all facets of the game. Opening series against all facets but defense, I'll say. Offensively, they've been there in that opening series against Boston. I was stacking them every slate, and it was a lot of fun. So if you're going to pop the lid open in Globe Life, I'm right back on the Orioles well. And what we're seeing with the Orioles is not only do we have a good mix of power, but they run too. And the stolen bases add up really, really quickly. When you run as aggressively as they were. I think they had 5 stolen bases in the first 2 games. So that's something that I'm going to be liking. About 5-6 years ago, we saw teams like the Brewers, like the Diamondbacks, run a lot, like way more than the rest of the league, and I was often targeting them because of that. And I feel like the Orioles going to be kind of that team for me again this year. So John Gray's on the bump here, 127 innings out of him last season. Really serviceable, 3.59 expected ERA, 1.13 whip. Strikeout rate against righties was extremely good, 29% K rate with an under 3 xFIP. Didn't walk hitters, did give up some power, a 1.4 home run per 9. That's back-to-back years of a 1.4 home run per 9 to righties. Against lefties, that's where he struggled a little bit more to get some outs, 4+ xFIP 3 years running, but last year was his best xFIP against lefties. Might have also been grouped in with the fact that, you know, going from Coors a couple years prior to Globe Life, that when the roof is on in Globe Life, it's in the new stadium at least, it's more pitcher friendly than not. So maybe we'll see some more progression in the right way for that. But I don't mind playing the Orioles, just betting on talent. Also, don't mind playing some John Gray here. This lineup's really half and half. But John Gray, if we can, when this lineup does come out, if it comes out a little bit more righty heavy, just based on how sour pitching is today, I don't mind getting to a little dab of John Gray. It looks like 1 in 10 lineups on DraftKings might have him. So it is what it is. Like, get there, you get there. 9,200 is probably overpriced, but give me a shot at 20. Cool. Absolutely, definitely going to get to some Orioles as well. Because both sides are meh, like Orioles aren't coming in at high ownership either. They're both single digit. You don't have to do much in your portfolio to kind of be there. I apologize if you're new to baseball and you're like, wait, this guy's on both the pitcher and the stack. That's just how baseball is. What are you gonna do? Let's put Orioles on the stack list here. It's going to be in the 90s strong. Yeah, if it's in the 90s, I mean that's as hot as it gets for April baseball. I agree with that, Dominique. Every day, stolen base potential, knick-knack through pitchers, early hooks for pitchers because of the scoreboard. They're just a really good team to target. Yeah, on the other side, you want to get to some Rangers. I'm game with that as well. Last season, Kyle Bradish made his debut, 4.5 in expected ERA, 8% barrel rate, 10% swing and strike rate. I believe this kid looked like he was going to be a better strikeout guy in the minors, so maybe we still get those growing pains. But yeah, if it's what is Arlington weather? Arlington weather today. Just gotta have my Ranger stack. I don't mind. Yeah, 91 degrees out there in Arlington, bro. I mean, that's just hot. That's just hot. Let's go baseball savant. Kyle Bradish. I guess it wouldn't really be the same here, but you know what? Let's just look at Bradish's batted ball data. 41% ground ball rate to righties, 55% to lefties. So he does keep lefties on the ground. Righties, meh, not as much. Power wise, we saw we saw Mitch Garver hit a pair yesterday, and he's not in the lineup today. So if we wanted to pick on Bradish, knowing this number, 1.5 home run per 9 at 90-degree weather, I guess Marcus Semien and Adolis Garcia would be the two. Cool. Probably not going to get the Bradish on that. Yeah, Dominator. I don't think I am, but like, there's very few pitchers you could come at me and be like, yo, I'm playing this guy. I'm like, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, I think on this slate, the standard, the bar for what a guy has to do to get in the player pool is a lot lower than usual. The 90 degree thing with the roof open makes me a little more pushbacky. So I'm probably not getting a Bradish. And then John Gray, like, you don't have to give up much equity in a portfolio to get there. But I would probably reserve like what I'll actually do with John Gray based on the lineup. If the lineup comes out as projected, where there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 righties, I would be really nervous to play John Gray in that environment as one of the higher price pitchers. If that makes sense. Over 8.5 is -24, so folks are taking the over. Yeah. 8.5 for 90 degree. Yeah, I'd be on the over, especially a team that's been running like the Orioles. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get like 10. Skip this song. Skip it. Tigers at the Astros. O's lineup just dropped. All right, let's take a look at it. Mullins, Rushman, Santander, Mountcastle, Gunnar Henderson, Kyle Stowers, Frazier, Jorge Mateo, Anthony Boom. It's a little different. Let's see. a little different. All right, we'll adjust that in a second. But yeah, I think that makes me way more pessimistic on Jon Gray. Because Jon Gray's still low enough owned that I don't hate it. But if his ownership, for whatever reason, took a spike tonight, I'd back away. But I wouldn't want to be more than 10% in on Jon Gray, knowing what we know right now. And I'm not even that confident. You're playing Bradish, Dylan? I don't know if I'm seeing it, man. Yeah, maybe. There was a couple things I noticed in the Orioles series against the Red Sox. Their pitching depth is not that deep, and their defense was really costing them. So I don't know. But again, pitching is so shallow today that I'm certainly not going to be the reason you do or don't play some of these guys. Bradish starts out pitcher. Crazy stuff can happen. But Astros hosting the Tigers. Matt Boyd on the bump for the Tigers. Astros lineup is out. Pena, Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Abreu, Kyle Tucker, Chas McCormick, David Hensley, Mauricio Dubon, former Giants great, and Martin Maldonado. Hunter Brown. So, any video game guys out there? Hunter Brown is a pitcher I picked up. 20,000 stubs. Man throws 102 in the video game. He's really good. He's really good for me. I think he's going to be really good for the Astros. I also think he's going to be really high owned today. Really high owned today. First of all, 7,400 on the slate this shallow against a team like the Tigers that just suck. We saw it. Crap. What's his name? We saw them get diced up yesterday by another 40% owned pitcher. And I think Hunter Brown, so far in the big league sample size, has shown that, yeah, he's on track to be a big strikeout guy. 27.5% K rate, 20 innings last season. And then in the minors, that's his pedigree. We've got 106 innings of sample size last year in the minors, 134 strikeouts. He's stanky with it. And if it's anything like the video game, he has some velo. Let me tell you. His average fastball was 96.6 last season. Backs it up with curveball at 83. So nice little drop off to his off speed or his breaking ball stuff. Has a cutter, has a changeup. Changeup's more of a show me pitch. So I got no issues with playing Hunter Brown against this horrendous Tigers team. And yeah, I'd probably have to at least tier to it. But there's a great chance that, unfortunately, even with chalk attached to him, I just have to be there because this Tigers team just looks atrocious. Matt Boyd on the bump for the Tigers. Last season, his underlying metrics for the most part look pretty solid. 2.7 expected ERA, 24.5% K rate. Barrel rate was at 3%. I guess that was only 13 innings. In the year prior, we've kind of always known that Matt Boyd has the ability to miss some bats. 12.5% swing and strike rate in 2020, 10.5% last season. Not as great. I guess with the low sample size and the fact that this version of the Astros lineup is really, really designed to beat up lefties. And the two lefties that are in today's lineup are Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker. And Alvarez still batted over 300 against lefties. There's not likely a range of outcomes for me to get to Matt Boyd in short entry. Like 20 or less lineups, not a chance. And in terms of picking a team with upside, maybe the Astros let you down yesterday against Clevenger, but the numbers are just the numbers. Look at this lane of 230 plus ISO against lefties, starting from Alvarez, Abreu, Kyle Tucker, Chas McCormick. There were some stolen base threats in there. Chas McCormick, I think, swiped the bag yesterday. 1 through 7, even 1 through 8. I'm not sure if Dubon is long for 4 or 5 at bats. I'm in on the Astros stack. Astros run total is 5.2, easily the highest on the slate. However, their stack ownership is reasonable. So when you get a team like the Astros projected to be lower owned than a team like the Pirates, considering the matchups, I'm in. So Astros make the stack list without a doubt. And then we're playing Hunter Brown. And even, man, I talked about leverage spots. Even with 40% ownership, you just look at this Tigers team and be like, is it worth it? You know what I mean? This is such a rough team. Bought Hunter Brown. Oh, you got him on the show? Yeah, man. Pitching's really shallow on the show. So, have you seen anything on a Hunter Brown pitch limit? I haven't, but check some blurbs. It's still the first wave through the rotation. So even on a limit, like yesterday we saw 70, 75 pitches for a couple of youngsters that were still able to pay off in the grand scheme of the slate. I think on an efficiency site like DraftKings, I wouldn't overthink it. But there were simulated out in, blah, 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 blah. But I don't see anything about a potential pitch cap. So if something does come out, hopefully it'll make the rounds. But I'm assuming at this ownership, nobody really knows, and especially not expecting it. Springs, that's who it was. Where's Lone Depot Park? It's in Miami. Hit that Nerfy on live stream in that game yesterday. Nice. The Rays ended up popping off, but yeah. Peralta 4+ Ks and W with Brown 5+ Ks with win. Man, trying to bet wins for pitchers is so, like, that's how they get you. That's the double. That's the zero on the roulette table right there. Low leading off. Here, what up, RC? Hope you're doing all right. Let's take a pause for the cause. If you guys want the spreadsheet, man, it's behind the paywall. RunDFS.com. Click VIP memberships. Grab a week pass. Try it out. See what you think. When you do upgrade, no matter what membership you get, it'll open up this VIP portal. A couple links in there for the baseball and basketball spreadsheet, and to the RunDFS.com RunDFS.com VIP Discord. I'll be in the MLB voice chat for a couple hours before lock, making lineups, probably talking a lot about MLB The Show, just vibing out a little bit. Blue Jays lineup just came out. Kevin Biggio in it. Looks a little different. Brandon Belt, Alejandro Kirk. Are they running? Oh no, Vladdy's DHing. Thought they were running double catcher, but I forgot Verso's a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. Go to RunDFS.com, get yourself signed up. You'll like the way you look. I guarantee it. D-backs, Padres. Next up, do we have lineups for either? We're starting to get to our West Coast stretch. By the way, while we're vibing, you guys want to hit that thumbs up button? That'd be lit. 140 plus of the coolest cats in all of YouTube. Just chilling right now. That's just, that's vibes. It'd be even more vibey. You hit that thumbs up. Ketel Marte leading off for the D-backs today against Ryan Weathers. You guys remember that Creed song, Weathered? Or am I just an old boomer? No one listens to Creed, Grandpa. What was that? Corbin Carroll, Nick Ahmed, Gabriel Marino, Jake McCarthy. No lineup right now for the Padres. We have a 3.9 run total for the D-backs, 4.5 for the Padres. Ryan Nelson, 2.24 expected ERA. Is Ryan Nelson an actual starter, or is this one of those bullpen games? Well, we're in 4 hits, striking up 5. He went 5.2 innings, so I guess he's a start-style starter. 5 Ks over 5.2. So, and then 5, 6, 7. Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of Ryan Stanek. It used to be on the Rays. Strikeouts are okay. The fly ball rate's nutty here, huh? Let's go pull up his minor league numbers, see what kind of pedigree we're expecting. Looked like a 0.5 ground out to air out ratio from his big league sample. Let's see what it's looking like in his minor league sample. Last year in the minors, get a 5.4 ERA, less than a strikeout per inning, a 1.4 WHIP. Is he running a little bit hot at the major league level? Last year in the minors. Okay, so against lefties, he was a ground ball pitcher. Against righties, he was an extreme fly ball pitcher. Allowed 12 and 13 home runs apiece. Wow, and 68 innings? What? Was he in the PCL? The major league level, we saw high fly ball race to both sides of the plate. 42% hard contact rate to righties in that sample. Let's go pull up his spring training. Stanek on the stroke. I saw a video of Stanek warming up. Oh, you know what it was? You know how MLB TV, they have those like ASMR commercials that aren't really commercials? It was, one of them was Ryan Stanek just in the bullpen warming up, but it was like in spring training. Stanky leg. So 2 homers in that. I don't know, that was last season. What the heck? See what he's done in the spring. It's looking like one of these games he could fall into what his pedigree is saying, and that's give up a bunch of homers. Gave up 1 homer in spring, you know. But still, look at this extreme ground ball to air out ratio. Like he's a massive fly ball pitcher, which is not inherently bad if you're not giving up a lot of hard contact. 6 walks, 19 innings, 17. So less than a strikeout per inning as well. But he gave up a lot of hard contact last year to righties, and I guess I'm gonna assume that there's not a big sample of lefties, because his lefty home runs were, we're saying the minors, he gave up 13 homers to lefties, 2 innings less than righties, so it was like pretty linear. Struck out righties more than lefties. Looks like somewhere in this kid could be a home run derby. So just something to be cognitive of. Just while we're here in the Ryan Nelson research, let's see if he had like a crazy unsustainable hard contact or an infield fly ball rate, or just like what was happening. That %13 hard contact rate, a 21% infield fly ball rate. So I don't know that those two numbers are going to sustain. And then the pull rate was meh. Line drive rate was elevated as well. But I kind of want to pick on this kid. I wonder if projection models even know how to grade this kid. So how high up are the Padres? You tell me we get the Padres at 2% on. You're gonna sit there owning a fireworks stand and tell me that you're not gonna get no Machados, no so, bro. We're stacking Padres. What? We just gotta hope this kid gets. Look at it. We're just stacking the whole slate. I need to make like if I was making 20 lineups, I'm stack these team column. But I think the Padres at that ownership, that's criminal. Versus like what I'm looking at, and this D-backs bullpen is probably not that menacing, right? D-backs. Yesterday they went to Miguel Castro, Chafin. So like probably all these guys would be available today, but you would maybe not want them to. Like who are like these guys are. All right, I'm stuck in Padres. Padres are way too low owned on this current run that I'm looking at. Do we have a Padres lineup? No. All right, cool. Well, that was probably really boring for you guys to sit through. I'm sorry. Seth Brown's your homer pick. Let's go. Any weather concern? It doesn't look like it. Concern. Oh, Widowee hit the Gwitty. Seen Trent K's were at 1.5 on PrizePicks to the under. 27% strikeout guy. Now, I guess in that leadoff spot, you might get that extra at bat that screws you. But yeah, it's at least not in the minors. Yeah, we were looking at the splits. He was striking out righties more than lefties. 55 Ks and 66 innings to lefties. I can get down with that. What's up, David? Hope you're doing all right. What's going on here? What up, Boosted? Let me find out. All right, cool. So there's that. Guardians at the Athletics next on the docket. Zach Plesac taking on James Caprillion. Caprillion. You stack against him with lefties. Former Yankee farmhand. You'll probably hear that 5 times tonight. No lineups for either team I'm dealing with. Caprillion's a guy that I love to smack around with lefties. Last season, the homer per night did dip under 1. I guess that's natural to happen out there in that ballpark. We also did see a 10% dip in hard contact to lefties, but the xFIP's still pretty doggone high, really to both sides of the plate. So don't think I'm going to play him. He had a 12.8% walk rate to righties. Not a ton of righties in this lineup, a lot of switchies or platoonies. But I'll say this, man, if you don't strike out Mike Zunino, you let him have a batted ball event. He's got a 20% barrel rate when he does put bat on ball. So if that sub 20% K rate is still here for Caprillion, might keep an eye on that. And we've seen Zunino actually draw some walks to start the season, so maybe it's a new year, new him, bro. If this was another park, I'd be a lot more interested in the Guardians just based on the pitcher, but this is certainly a park where home runs can go to die. If you refer back to the Kevin Roth weather report, he did mention that winds are out to right at 15 to 20, generally good for your lefty pull hitters. So on top of Caprillion historically being a guy that gives up high fly balls and hard contact to lefties, this would be a good spot for like a Jose Ramirez, maybe a Josh Bell, Josh Naylor, guys like that. I'm probably gonna be trepidatious with managing. Ownership's okay. The only thing that's pushing me down is the park, but might have some factors in its favor. Certainly not interested in pitching Caprillion against the Guardians. The Guardians are a team that I'll almost never pitch against. I mean, look at these strikeout rates, just really non-existent. They're just really scrappy. If they don't strike out, they'll run your pitch count up, blah, blah, blah. So no Caprillion here. Plesac, another guy that I probably don't get to, but kind of the inverse. You'll see me take some extra shots against the Athletics just based on who they are. In this particular projected lineup, the bottom half of this lineup strikes in like 1 in 4 times, sometimes 1 in 3 collectively. So there are added strikeouts, but Plesac's just not really that guy, pal. 17% K rate last year, 16.7% K rate the year before, 15% to lefties, 20% to righties. Just gonna dare you to put the ball in play. Does live against righties, 3.63 xFIP. Like, that's fine, that's serviceable for a day 4, day 5 starter. But the xFIP against lefties is not what you want. And also just a 33% ground ball rate to lefties. So I think somebody in the chat called out a Seth Brown bomb. It's got a 3.93 rating on the bomb detector, so it doesn't really disagree with you. 250 ISO, certainly a path to success there. I think generally I'm just expecting modest results here, but I would be leaning in the favor of the offense. But just as I guess the Guardians are more likely to have multiple stolen bases coupled with their decent hit for average. I think the Athletics are just still hard to get to with any type of confidence. And then backing up Plesac is a better bullpen. The Guardians have Emmanuel Clase, and they have what's his name? Stepan. You know what I'm talking about? They have a good bullpen, so more likely to chop games in half, especially down there in the of Oakland, which is probably the most pitcher-friendly parts on this slate. Let me see. Guardians have Clase, who's probably going to be available today if they need him. And Stepan, who threw 13 pitches yesterday, but he could throw back-to-back days. So those are two guys that are really, really good. James Karinchak, when he's on. He's one of the fastest guys in the league. He didn't throw yesterday. So they have a real shot at cutting this game in half if the scoreboard's within a couple of runs. So I'm not there really on the Athletics, but I'm fine with the Guardian stack. Kopech getting lit up by the Giants. Kopech's not really living up to the hype from the Chris Sale trade, right? Who's your GPP stack in a 300 entry slate? 4 max? What? And a 3? Oh, you mean like 300 entries in the contest, but you can only have 4? Ooh, GPP stack in a 300. Okay. Man, I would probably want to mix and match Astros and Padres. What's the true meaning of barrel rate? So it's like a barrel rate is exit velocity, I believe, above 95 with a launch angle within a whatever. And those barrels are, I think, supposed to be a hit like over 50% of the time, something like that. Actually, we can just get you the definition, but it essentially is exit velocity times launch angle, barrel rate definition. Batted ball with similar hit types and exit velocity and launch angle that has led to a minimum 500 batting average. Average 1.5 slugging percentage. The batted ball requires an exit velocity of 98 miles an hour to be barrel. So basically what I just said, right? 500 batting average over 50% of the time. Do you like any teams on the money line today? Ooh. Tell you what, pitching is pretty ugly. If I had to grab, just if you're saying just pick winners, Tampa Bay, Houston Astros, probably the Guardians. Those, and then I guess we'll get to the Dodgers here in a second. Those would be the ones. Like Nolan Gorman on Fanduel? Yeah, I don't mind him. We just talked about that game a minute ago, right? He's batting 6. Would like him to be batting higher, but batting 6 is behind that murderer's row, so plenty of ribeye potential. So definitely don't mind him. Where are we at? So we want to get to this Mariners hosting the Angels. Reed Detmer's taking on George Kirby. Gonna try a showdown because of no NBA. My brother in Christ. Maybe showdown isn't the way. Maybe try the main slate. Showdown is showdowns are crazy. Angels. Do we have lineups here? No. So Detmers versus Kirby. Angels have a 3.4 run total. Mariners a 4 run total. So it's a really low scoring projected game. Kirby has a 3.31 expected ERA. Detmer's 4+. So Kirby is definitely a better real life pitcher than I'd probably say all but 1 or 2. Like you can make a case for the upside of Hunter Brown. Could make a case that Cortez is just a better real life pitcher, but Kirby's like in the conversation real quick for talented at pitcher on this slate. And then you introduce Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani to the chat, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right. So it's a tough spot. But with that said, talent is probably going to grab some ownership, and Kirby's looking like he's going to be a top 3, top 4 owned pitcher tonight. Maybe gets into top 2. So I get it. And I think you have to get to a little of them if you're diversifying a portfolio of lineups. But this version of the Angels lineup, I guess we'll see if Ohtani plays, right? Ohtani plays most of the time, but sometimes he'll take a day off. due to like skipper's discretion if his like start's coming up. But I also know that like he probably respects Ichiro a lot and probably means a lot to play up there. I don't know. So I get it. We'll play a little bit of Kirby. 8K is just way too cheap on DraftKings anyway. There's a $2,000 discrepancy from Fanduel to DraftKings, so I get it. Kirby gets into the pitching player pool pretty quickly. Reed Detmers has thrown a no-hitter in the major league level. You can never take that away from him. But man, do his advanced metrics not love? So is this the guy that wasn't he sent down and then he came back up and started striking people out? Let's see. I think after like his big debut, he just kept getting like hit up, and then they set him down. And I want to say when he came back up, he was getting Ks, but I don't want to make that up. So let's go look at that. Can you please walk me off my lock button for Judge today? I have him with 2 homers, possibly 3. All right, Mamba, I feel like you're trolling, but that's the guy that we not walking nobody off. So last year for Detmers, we saw several single-digit swing and strike rate games, and then to close the season, a 22, a 13, an 11%. There's a 16 in there. What is going on here? Look at that. Slider sitting at 90 in spring. Really? It was 86 last season. Fastball's touching 97. How did he jump from 93 to 97? How do you find 5 miles an hour? Detmers spring training velocity. I don't know. Maybe an article will come up. Gunn and Judge share a strong resemblance. We used to have a stronger resemblance when we were gap tooth brothers, and then he went and got surgically fixed on me. I've got to catch him a few times last year, and he was outstanding, said Matt Tice. What is happening? What is happening here? Disable ad blocker or subscribe. Things that are not happening, featuring that. His stuff just jumped from last year to this year. Detmer's fastball averaged 93 last season. We started Friday in the Cactus League. He was consistently at 95, 97. So I guess you're right. He just has velocity out of nowhere. I might get in trouble for this, chat, but I gotta see this with my own eyes. Maybe Detmers is like a sneaky play. Judge has 4 homers against Walker. Yeah, Judge will probably hit 6 homers today. Draw a couple walks. Still. Anytime you want to play Aaron Judge, I'm not going to ever talk you off of it. But I don't ever look at BVP. I mean, I look at it, but I don't really care.
Good fastball. Detmers velocity here.
All right, let's see with our own eyes here. Detmers against Brian Anderson, swing and a miss. Yeah, a little zip on that fastball, up and away. I'm seeing the radar gun here. Okay, that little slider dive bombs in, yeah. All right, you might sell me on Detmers, bro. Lefty. Josh Van Meter, no match for that dive bomb and slider. Dude, are you about to make me play Reed Detmers, bro? All right, that was just like a little laggy, but all right, I'm gonna go off of those numbers. Maybe we get a surprise on the field. What is Detmer's ownership? Meh. Usable. I'm gonna do it, man. We're gonna aim for the bushes. You see Walker at the plate. I'm pretty sure Judge is probably up there in the bottom. To check there. 4.14. So anything above 4 is the magic number. But it's Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge. Who'd you take for cash game pitcher on Fanduel? Right now, probably Hunter Brown. What's up, James? I appreciate that like. Who would you take for a stacking team on Fanduel? I like the Astros and the Padres right now. There's a lot more offenses than pitchers today, so it's probably gonna be a high scoring slate. I'm on Detmers. Aim for the bushes, y'all. There will be a Detmers group chat tonight. Good God. Do we play both sides of this though? Since Detmers is going to be single digit owned, there is some lefty mashers in this lineup, bro. It's not going to come without risk. But a lot of strikeouts here against lefties. 30% K rate last year for J-Rod. 31% for Eugenio Suarez. 29%. I mean, these are their boppers too. So you're going to deal with like a 4-point, I don't know, Teoscar Hernandez has a 23% K rate. Teoscar kills lefties. 4.23 on the bomb rating. But if Detmers is missing, you know, I don't want to get hyped up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get too hyped up on some spring training stuff, because it's not like these guys can't hit 97, but it certainly shakes up what we know about Reed Detmers. So maybe it's a both sides of the plate type of deal. And then we're still playing Kirby. This curveball gets a 70. Jeez. What are some home run calls for a parlay bet? I think I like O'Neal Cruz quite a bit. I'm fine if you take Judge, but you probably Judge is like plus 200 these days for homers. That's just not 2-1 for a bomb. Just doesn't even feel worth it. Scumdacker, yeah, I think we're doing it. It's Scumdacker, not Scamdacker. Hold up, hold up. All right, one game left on the docket. Dodgers hosting the Rockies. Ryan Feltner snatch up against Michael Grove. We've got a run total of 5.1 for the Dodgers, 3.39 for the Rockies. So Dodgers coming in with one of the highest run totals on the slate, and probably one of the highest owned stacked teams on the slate because of that. Sure. No pushback here. We're just stacking the Dodgers, an all-star team still. Mookie has one of the highest bomb ratings as well. Felter had a 1.5 home run per 9. All right, let's go look at Felter's numbers though, because on the road last year still had a 1.8. So this guy just sucks, huh? I'm new here. I appreciate it. Don't gas me up. I'm not doing it. You like Cutter Crawford, Josh? So I will say that Cutter's one of the guys I'm with you on Brown. Crawford, I'm probably not touching. But pitching could be very polarizing today. So this ain't the day. Like I'm not gonna take. I never take who you guys play personal. It's baseball. So like I understand some of these clicks, but I'm not there on Crawford today. What was I looking at? Oh, numbers last year. So season stats. First of all, this kid was on the Rockies last year, 97 innings. So anytime we get a Rockies pitcher, we do want to at least look at the splits for them, just because Coors Field plays extremely different than every other field. But he sucked at home and on the road. A higher average allowed on the road, a higher slugging on the road, 18 walks on the road, 13 more innings. More homers on the road last season. Good Lord, how are you doing that? 1.8 home run per 9 on the road last season? Huh? How are you not just a little worse? How are you much worse than you are in Coors? What is happening? All right, let's look at batted ball data. Away versus righties. What? 41.5% pull rate, 33% hard contact, 40% hard contact to lefties, 36% pull rate, fly ball rate still elevated, line drive rate. Yeah, okay. This guy's just like not great, but he does have a ground ball rate against righties on the road. In general, 40%. All right, so he's not good. We're stacking Dodgers. Cool, lit. Michael Grove on the bump for the Dodgers. 29 innings of sample size last season. Really not inspiring stuff. 1.43 on the whip. Somehow a 3.1 expected ERA with the 4.56 Sierra. A lot of these numbers just don't match. So let's get to the bottom of that. There's not really much we can do. XFIP was elevated. A couple home run games, double home run games, contact pitcher, a lot of these games. All right, we're not playing Michael Grove. Stacking the Rockies is never fun on the road. We did see a little bit of hope in some of their bats in that Padres series. CJ Cron, he get homers in any park. Charlie Blackmon got into one. So I guess like there's still a lane here that I would want to get to, or I could get to rather, against Grove. Is Grove got some immediate backup that we know about? Or is he just out there to wear it? Grove is expected to get up to 3 starts if all goes to plan. We're called from AAA Oklahoma City. Is this a minor numbers more like encouraging? I feel like the Dodgers are not leaning on this guy unless they think happy thoughts. And maybe it's just a big league. In the minors, 76 innings in the minors, 90 strikeouts. The 1.2 whip is still elevated. Like you want that lower, but it does look like there is some strikeout potential in his pedigree. Let's look at last year's regular season. Like Juan Soto today, yeah, always. Crawford gets 6 batters around a 25% K rate. Pitching's really bad today. I'm more so focused on the pitcher strikeout numbers than the hitters. Like to start, and then I want to cross-reference it. So like with Cutter Crawford, and again, I don't want to get you off of your gut. Go with your gut, but just explain what my process would be. Is like for instance, a righty. I don't know, Jason DeLay. He has a 33% K rate. Well, that's cool, but if Crawford's got a 20% K rate, like I guess mathematically maybe just meet in the middle at 25%. Like I still think there is some strikeout hope. 11% swinging strike rate, but you're assuming a lot of risk in some of these other metrics, like the elevated walk rate to lefties. So many lefties, and that's what you really got to be worried about here. There's only 2 righties at period, and against lefties, dude has an 11.5% walk rate. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. Go with your gut on that one, but yeah, I'm not there. I just think there's a lot of risk in the bats there. All right, let's get back to Michael Grove. So maybe there's something on Grove that I'm not seeing. 18 strikeouts against righties in 11.1 innings. That's in the. Let's see, Michael Grove. Houston high owned tonight. I think it was like Pirates and Dodgers, and everybody else was pretty spread out evenly. So I don't think high owned is probably not the word. I don't think they're high owned. Let me look at it. Where are they on the list? The top 5, but once you get past 3, it's pretty spread out. 15 Ks last year against lefties. All right, maybe there's a surprise in Michael Grove. It's just kind of like the Detmers thing. Like, maybe there's more strikeout potential than what we saw in the big league sample last season, and that's fine. So at 5,600 for the price of a bat, could he get you a home run point at a SP2 possibly? I wouldn't talk you down from it. I'll think about it a little bit more. I probably don't get there on Fanduel. I'll think about it a little bit more from a DraftKings perspective. Put him with like a high strikeout guy like Hunter Brown maybe, and then it'll just load up on bats, because I do think this slate is for the offense, you know. Pirates being high, so yeah. And so that's another, Josh, it's funny, like your pitchers against the second highest owned stack, but like that's not a knock on Crawford though. Like I don't think it's a 0% outcome for Crawford to do well here. So I'm certainly not trying to pick on Crawford, but it is a very risky spot. So that would be like elite, I don't know, like elite, but that would be like a tournament leverage spot if Crawford were to mow down like a top 2, top 3 owned offense. I don't mind it. All right, so that's our slate. Any lineups come out while we were live? And if I missed questions or anything like that, you guys got something you want to look at, we got a little bit of time to do that. So fill up the chat with that type of stuff. I'm going to circle back here, check out all the lineups in the rundfs.com MLB VIP spreadsheet. Maybe we'll look back and forth between this and PrizePicks and come up with a couple of clicks. So start from the top. Rays lineup is out. Yup. Brandon Lau. Wander Franco. Randy Rosarina. Luke Riley is batting cleanup. Harold Ramirez. Yeah. 6-spot Isaac Paredes. Josh Lowe. Manuel Margot. Francisco Mejia. So they're mixing. We mentioned Trevor Williams. We want to see if you're playing Trevor Williams, you want to see as little lefties as possible. And they threw out 5 of them, so good luck. Phillies lineup came out. Trey Turner, Schwarber, Real Muto, Castellanos, Alec Boehm, Josh Harrison, Derek Halls, batting 7th, Edmundo Sosa, Brandon Marsh. So we'll get that green lighted. What else we got here? Did the Blue Jays lineup come out? It did. We got Springer, Bo Bichette, Vladdy, Dalton Varsho, Kirk, Belt, Chapman, Kevin Biggio batting 8th, Kevin Kiermaier. So we mentioned Singer's strikeout rate to lefties is actually higher. So bottom of the lineup, maybe there's some extra strikeouts. This lane at the close. He's got to get through death row, but there is a lane there that I could see Singer not dying. Orioles lineup is out. Cedric Mullins, Ellie Rushman, Santander, Mountcastle, Gunnar Henderson, Kyle Stowers, Adam Frazier, Jorge Mateo, Anthony Bamboom. Get that green lighted. Tigers lineup is out. Doesn't really matter. Riley Green, Javi Baez, Carpenter, Spencer Torkelson, Austin Meadows, Matt Verling, Zach McKinstry, Eric Haas. Get that green lighted. Padres, we're still waiting on that. So nothing from the West Coast came out. All right, so that's fully updated. So now that we have as much of an update as possible, we can refresh the bomb detector and maybe cross-reference some fantasy points on PrizePicks with some home run calls. I don't really think I'm gonna get too deep in strikeout props today based on how much we didn't like it. So I still like O'Neal Cruz. Mike Trout's up there, but Trout's always up there, right? So you get like 7.5, 8.5. Fine, if you want to take that, take it. Teoscar. So Teoscar is intriguing because Teoscar historically just kills left-handed pitching. Mentioned there might be a nuance to wrinkle how to project it. Read Detmers, but Teoscar's still up there, and lefties are lefties. So Teoscar might be somebody we can get behind, and he is at 5.5 fantasy. That's really low for a cleanup guy. I mean, that's like an RBI single essentially, right? So T.O. Might take that. We might take that. What else we got here that we like? Judgy. You guys mentioned Judgy. He's probably at 8.5. 9.5. Good God. Mookie leading off. He's at 8.5, 7.5, 8.5. High up there on that bomb detector. If he leads off, I'll probably always take a shot on Mookie. I think I read that he's going to play second base tonight. Or was that yesterday? Let's see if we can find somebody to tie a ribbon on what we got here. Trey Turner leading off at Yankee Stadium is pretty scary. Not gonna lie. Hey, all right. Any overs on Nerfies that we want to get behind? Bro, they have a 3-pitcher. No, this is James Caprillion. Why is there there's like a dash between James and Caprillion, so it made it look like it was 3 pitchers. Intriguing. Hits allowed. All right, let's go. What do we got for strikeouts on Brown? If anything. I had 4 Ks on Berrios. I think I saw him at 4.5 earlier. It's actually gone down. 5.5 Ks for Hunter Brown. I feel like I want that. Hunter. Very bad fastball hitting team. Very bad curveball hitting team. I think we do Hunter Brown for 6 strikeouts. Hoping for the best. Hunter Brown over 5.5 Ks. I like to usually throw 5 to mix and match. But also don't want to force it. I think Trey Turner would be the other one I'm somewhat looking at. Maybe Brandon Lau. Brandon Lau leading off against a righty who can't get lefties out. Is that the wave? He's not on the board. Maybe he'll jump on the board later. All right, we'll go with that. All right, let's wrap up chat. Do we just stack the top of the Rays lineup? The rest of these cats are subject to get binged before. Yeah, the thing with stacks, though, a lot of times they pay off early. So if you get a homer, you get a homer. But yes, this is Cash is notorious for being a platoon guy. Yesterday, they started subbing people when they had a 10-run lead. I think one of the guys they subbed was, I forget his name, but he had toe injury, it came to find out. So, yeah. But I still think you get like 6-7 innings anyway. Like, who would really be at the biggest risk here for getting subbed out? Josh Lowe? Maybe Riley? Maybe, but I wouldn't I wouldn't skip out on the starting matchup against Trevor Williams. You know what I mean? Like, if I thought Lau could get subbed out, well, I still think it's a good spot for him against him. Like the Guardians guys, fantasy score while they're still on base. That's a great point. So the more hit for average guys like Steven Kwan, J-Ram. Maybe those two. Yeah. What's Kwan's? 7. I wouldn't mind throwing a Kwan. If Kwan for sure leads off, then he probably should. I don't mind that one at all. I think that's a good call. We'll do that. All right, that's our slate. So I did look at the schedule the other day, but I forget. I feel like baseball schedule gets really weird this week. A couple of night slates and a couple day slates. So what is tomorrow? But I do want to thank you guys for hanging out for these baseball streams. Baseball's got to be really boring, you know, to consume. I know that. I try to be spicy with it, but I can only do so much. So tomorrow's still a night slate. Then on Wednesday it gets daytimey. So tomorrow we'll shoot for 3 p.m. Eastern again, 2 p.m. Central, and we'll go from there. Braves and Rays with Morton. I dig it. You guys should come hang out with us in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. I'll be there in a little bit. Next 30 minutes, 40 minutes, making a player pool. If you guys want to look at my player pool, it's in the spreadsheet. We'll have the bond detector set up. We'll still update lineups as we go, man. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Monday. Make it part of my afternoon, be part of your afternoon. All I ask in return is really 3 things. 1, make sure you're subbed. Hit that sub button. 2, hit that thumbs up. And number 3, tell somebody you love them. Because I promise you, somebody needs to hear it. I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.